Hello friends, back by popular demand. It is another Clean With Me video where you, the viewer, are released from any obligation to actually pay attention and watch the screen, and you're free instead to do whatever else it is that your heart desires, whether that is cooking, crafting, studying, cleaning alongside me, or, you know, of course, you are welcome to hang out and actually watch the screen. I will be doing stuff. So I will, if you hadn't guessed it from the title, be cleaning because, friends, my room is an absolute disaster zone, and I am more than happy to get into why that is in a second here. But first, I have a cup of coffee brewing to help power me through this process. So let me go grab that cup of coffee, and then I can come back and we can chat a little bit about what it is that I am hoping to accomplish here today with you. So now is your moment if you want an accountability buddy to go down in the comments and make a public declaration of what it is you'd like to accomplish during this video. Now, there's no pressure. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but a lot of people did say that they were enjoying the accountability system body doubling effect that these videos were having. So I'm putting it out there that if this will help you to stick to the task you've set your mind to, now is a great moment to go do it. Head down in the comments and let us know what it is you're working on, and then feel free to come back at the end of the video and let us know how far you got. All right, friends, got my coffee here, ready to go, and figured I'd kind of let you know what my goals for the day are. So this is my studio. If you're not familiar with it, this, under all the chaos, is a very large, very lovely working surface that has currently just become a dumping ground for everything. So this is the main surface that I'd like to tackle today. We also have behind it over there, we've got another counter that has equally become a dumping ground for everything. Would be great if we can tackle that. And if we got some extra time today, we'll also go and clean up the bed area over there, but I am significantly less concerned with that. I would ideally just like to get my working surface back. Yeah, in a perfect world, gonna finish the day with a much more cleaner studio so I can actually try to get some work done in here. Also, yes, isn't my coffee mug absolutely adorable? It's, if you've been on the channel for a while, you'll have seen it before. It's made a couple appearances in some of my sewing videos, but I absolutely love it because it is a little circus tent. My technician friend in Copenhagen got me this for his birthday, one of the last big hangouts we had before we flew back to Montreal for good after 3 years of living there. So this is like very fun. It's just a little reminder of him. The reason it looks kind of goofy is because when it's cold, it's one color, and then when you pour hot liquid into it, it turns a different color, but now it's... The coffee is apparently not hot enough because it is kind of in between colors, but yeah, very fun little circus mug from Flying Tiger, from all of you out there in Europe who will recognize it. So, fueled by caffeine and Jacob's love for me, let's start tackling this room. So this is what we're dealing with, folks. Literally anything and everything that ever needed to be set down in my apartment in the past few months was set down here. We've got clothes, we've got crafting supplies, we've got tedious paperwork and bags of soil. You name it, it can probably be found right here. Or potentially over here, because this is also a surface in dire need of cleaning and organization. And let's not even get into the giant pile of hardwood over here that still needs to go to the house. So one of the things that I find tends to help me when I have just such a complete chaos zone going on over here is I try to find large, broad categories to break things down into and separate things out. So right away I can see that there is, for some reason I'm not entirely sure about, a ton of clothes on this table. So that's fine, that's easy. All the clothes gonna go on the bed behind me, and I'll tackle all of that later, sorting through it, seeing what is clean, what is dirty. Another category here seems to be all of the things that people bought me off of Amazon. So I have this Amazon wish list for the house, and people have been so kind and generous and buying things off of it to help me with the house. Like this, for example, is scrapers that are going to get used to scrape down and redo all the windows. These are from Judith, by the way. Thank you very much. I have been keeping all of the labels on so I know who gave me what. But I have a lot of them laying around. That's another big category. Those are all gonna get put in one group and I can sort through that later. Other things like I've got a bunch of crafting stuff, all the crafting stuff in one section. All the stuff for the house can go in my suitcase to be brought to the house. So already, like right there, those are going to be very achievable, large, overarching tasks that are just going to be like quick wins and going to help sort out some stuff on here and break it down, make it a little bit easier, hopefully, I think, to sort everything out. So yeah, let's just start throwing clothes on the bed. How about that? Apparently this is where all my pajama pants go, to hang out when I'm not wearing them. They go on my sewing table, naturally. I'm not even going to worry about dirty versus clean right now. Literally just, if it's clothing, off the table, into a pile on the bed. Alrighty, just that one step, just moving the clothes off the table onto the bed, made a huge difference. This task now looks a lot less daunting. Also, check out my cute socks. Just gotta share those. They're little corgis. I don't generally buy a whole lot of fast fashion, at least not new. I tend to thrift stuff, but the one exception I do make is sometimes I will buy some very cute little corgi themed items, like these socks. So anyway, this is looking much better over here. I can show you. We can see the work surface. We couldn't see that even just a couple minutes ago. So great progress. That's just gonna stay over on the bed for now, along with that sock. And now, yeah, I think I'm gonna go through and grab all of the stuff that needs to go to the house, and that is gonna go into a suitcase. And I can just throw it in the car and bring it to the house the next time we go down there. So, next category, suitcase time. Now, I can tell that I did try to organize this beforehand because a lot of this stuff is fairly contained, but I think that's because this is the box of stuff that I brought from the US with me. The Amazon wishlist situation has been amazing, but also strangely complicated because I'm located in Canada. I know that a lot of you, most of you in fact, are located in the US, and oddly enough, I didn't know this, but you can have different Amazon accounts, like one for each country. So just because you have an Amazon.com account does not mean you automatically have an Amazon.ca account, and it's become like this whole big headache because I'm trying to make it convenient for everyone who wants to help me out and buy stuff for the house. So I set up an Amazon.com address with a US address that I can go and pick stuff up from. Also because it remains anonymous, so that's kind of one of the perks of using Amazon, is it allows me to remain completely anonymous. I don't have to put my address out there. But the downside is it means that I do end up having to like cart entire suitcases full of stuff across the border with me, and I usually already have an entire suitcase full of stuff anyway because it's full of, you know, I'm traveling for work, so I've got costumes and dog food and, you know, clothes for being in Norway or whatever. So I often end up going on contract with one suitcase and coming back with two, and a lot of it is full of Amazon stuff, which let me be clear, I'm not complaining. People have been so kind and generous and donating to the house, so I don't want to come off like I'm complaining. It's just like been very enlightening for me and surprisingly more complicated than I anticipated. Me being located in Canada, the house being located in Canada, but most of my viewers being located in the US. So I definitely have started the Amazon.ca account and I'm hoping that more people will go sign up there, but I'll take what I can get, you know, into the suitcase. Okay, so that actually made such a giant dent in the stuff on my work table that I think I am going to take a moment to just put it in the suitcase now, because I think we can afford that leisure. And then this can just be like nicely zipped up and placed in a corner. And that is gonna be super, super satisfying. Making my suitcase always reminds me of when I was a kid and my mom would pay me to pack the groceries. So I got really good at packing the grocery bag and like making sure that the big heavy square things went in first and then all the light things went in afterwards. It was like, it's a whole art, and one that I'm actually pretty sure that some cashiers these days still haven't grasped, but this is not dissimilar. I have to say, I do think we are going to be absolutely set, for a little bit at least, on the giant garbage bags. I've had a few people buy those for me, which is amazing. We desperately needed those. And now I have a whole ton. Also, looking at all these scraper sets, because I did have a couple of them, I am so excited to get working on those windows. It's gonna be so nice. So nice to get them like back in working order again. Doing the best that I can to keep all the little labels on here because I do want to like give little shout outs to people for this. Oh, this person wanted to add a dog treat for Canel, but I didn't have any listed. Well, don't worry, Canel did get a lot of treats. Somebody even actually sent her balls, even though that wasn't on her wish list. She is a big Chuck-It fan. She prefers sticks over balls, but we'll see if we can get her to chase after some of these for you. I do actually intend to do some sort of very cute Canel unboxing ceremony video at some point with all the stuff that y'all got her. The problem is that she's very well trained and not naturally destructive. So like when she was a very little puppy, we had one Christmas where she was very good at tearing open her own Christmas presents. But then after that, she immediately was just like, no, I'm not supposed to be destructive. I don't do that. So she stopped, which is great, except that it's gonna make encouraging her to do her own unboxing video a little bit challenging. We're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna encourage her to be destructive for once. For her own sake and for y'all's amusement as well. Also, lots and lots of filters for the masks. I am super excited and grateful about those because always want to stay safe as much as possible. And yeah, these are like, you know, for them to be effective, you have to change them out fairly frequently. I mean, not too frequently, but you should change them out when you're supposed to for them to remain effective. So they're very disposable, and yeah, it's been actually really great to have like kind of a stock of filters that I can just kind of change out. Oh, and you are gonna lose battery soon, aren't you? Oh, was it upside down this whole time? Shouldn't matter too much. Okay, so look at where we're at. Things are looking good. We're seeing more and more of my workspace, which I am absolutely loving. However, the next steps are a little bit more nebulous. Actually, this is empty, so let's get rid of that. That's a good first step. But yeah, we kind of take care of all like the super big ticket items, and now the progress is going to be a little bit slower, but I think a little bit more interesting for those of you who are into the crafts at least, because a lot of this stuff is going to be craft related, which means I can kind of catch you up on some of the stuff that I have been doing off camera and, you know, just kind of show you where some fun little progress bits like this is one of the random little Hexy quilt swatches that I'm still going, because I am still working on, oh, my camera is super crooked, sorry guys. I am still working on my room divider. It is actually right here. And I have the one that I did on camera for my Hexi quilt video. That one is big enough. It is basically almost the right size to go in here, but I still need 2 more panels, so I have slowly been plugging away at those. And actually, where is the... Yeah, is it? No, it's not that one. Well, when I come across the one that's supposed to go in that panel, we can take it over there and fit it in place, and I can show you what it's gonna look like once she's all done. But in the meantime, let's get into some crafty stuff. I think the first thing we're gonna do is take care of my serger over there, because that seems very easy. That just goes in the box under my table right here. So let's do that. Oh, speaking of corgi themed items, I don't actually remember where this comes from, but it holds a lot of my like serging accessories and works in progress and such. I have a whole nother box where I keep my serging thread, because I have since acquired a whole lot more, but my white and my black, they live in here in my little corgi drawstring backpack that I honestly forgot I had, and is super, super cute, and maybe it should actually get more use than just storing my threads. But for now, it's doing the job gallantly. Oh, actually, come here. And you can see that I actually have my bubblegum colored thread in here, which the last time you would have seen it would have been on my Edwardian jumper skirt. It is back in the serger because I've got another project that I was working on most recently over down in the chair over here. We can talk about this a little bit later, but it was kind of a pretty good match color-wise. So we whipped out the bubblegum colors again, thrifted as always, and proving very useful. There should be a foot pedal here somewhere, but of course I don't see it. So that means we'll probably have to pull this box back out later when I do find it. But for now, mission accomplished. Oh, there it is. Aha! Excellent. That was fairly expedient. All right, in the box. Done. Cool. Okay, so with the serger put away, next up I think I'm just gonna round up all of the sewing and crafting relating items, gather them together, and again, just set them off to the side somewhere to be dealt with later. But in the meantime, we can kind of go through what I've got going on here. So we've got a lot of English paper piecing going on. Like I mentioned, this is one of the little samplers. Look at the fun textures and sheens and shines that are going on. I'm very happy with that. So that can go maybe in here. I seem to have some other paper piecing stuff in here. Let's see what all is in here. Oh yeah. Oh, lots of crafting stuff. Okay, chaos. Am I... I'm looking at this like, am I opening a can of worms by actually sorting through this? But no, I think it's fine. Famous last words. So it was mostly crafting stuff, and I'm just gonna sort through it quickly and put it back in here. We've got one random skein of Cascades 220. This is from my mystery wool bundle, but I'm not sure what it's doing here. I might have pulled it out when Charlie was gonna visit and like maybe considered using this, but in the end decided to use a different purple one. This is a very fun one. This has a good story. This yarn came from this shop in Amsterdam. When we were flying back from Hungary last winter, there was a tiny bit of snow in Amsterdam, totally shut down the airport there, and left us stranded for 24 hours, but in the best possible way because we didn't have anywhere to go. Like, we weren't rushing, we weren't on a deadline, and KLM paid for a hotel overnight and our meals, so we just got like a free one-day trip vacation in Amsterdam. And you know that I just like found myself this yarn shop and walked in and was like, let's get something to knit. And this was one of the yarns that I got. It's like lovely tweed going on there, and I made a hat out of it and I posted about it on Instagram, and I feel like I have the rest of the hat here, so hold on. This is my knitting work in progress box. Yes, I do. So here's the hat that I made. I ended up getting, they're all in the same like family. So this is like tan with blue flecks. This is the blue with tan and silver flecks, and then there's one in here that's a little bit like silver gray with blue flecks. So I had ended up not using this one because, remember, I was very unexpectedly finding myself in a yarn shop and trying to, without any planning, choose yarns that I could make something with, because I did already have one set of needles with me. I had these needles with me. So I had been working on this project in Hungary, and I finished it. Like, I blew through all the yarn that I had because it ended up being kind of a stressful trip. So I knit a lot, and my patrons already kind of know the backstory about this, but basically I finished this. So I didn't have any more yarn. I couldn't work on this, but I had the needles. So I was like, okay, look, I want to get some yarn that I can use with the same needles. And that's why, kind of very on the spot, last minute decision, went with that. Didn't use this at all, but did use the other skeins, the like blue and silver skeins, to make this pattern, which I absolutely love. It was my first time doing any sort of color work. Like, this isn't really maybe what you would think of like classically as color work, but I think it's super cute. It fits very well. It's not gonna fit with my ponytail on, but it looks really funny with my ponytail on, but trust me, it fits pretty well. It's just missing the pom-pom, and I was thinking about doing a little video on it because the tricky part is, now this pattern, it's called the like something like the vintage peppermint hat, but it's not a vintage pattern. It is a modern pattern, and yet the instructions are not written particularly well, and it took me a long time to figure out how to do this pattern with the instructions that the author wrote. And once I finally figured it out, I was like, I should do a little video on how to do this because it was very easy. It was a very easy colorwork pattern once I figured out how to do it, like what she meant by it. So I was like, maybe as a service to anybody else out there who is thinking about trying a simple colorwork pattern, this was a good one to start with, but needs a little disclaimer. So I might do a little video on that at some point, now that I have the second channel, because that was part of the reason I didn't make the video, was that in the first place I was like, I don't know if it's going to do well enough to make it onto a main channel video, but I've got a second channel, so maybe this is coming up. This, I'm going to pick this sweater back up because I am partway through the front. This is the whole, I have one back and one sleeve, and I need the front and the second sleeve, and then I can join it together. So it is just about the season that I can pull that back out. And then anyway, the other stuff that was in here, again, if you've been with me since last winter, you'll recognize these. These are my knitting bag fabrics that I got, fully intending to make a couple different project bags for all my knitting, and then just didn't get around to it, but would love to get around to it if possible. So that's going in there. This is the swatch that I did. I should probably keep that with my sweater. The leftovers of the fabric from my vest that I had to make, emergency vest for last winter. Have a bunch of leftovers from that so I can make Phil a matching one day. The gingham from my chicken scratch. Some of the quilting fabric from my Christmas themed crazy quilt. And then And then one of the pillowcases from the sheets, because I need to take this to the paint store and color match it for a project I've got coming up. So that needs to go over there. Fun stuff in the works. Super excited about that one. A lot of those projects that I just mentioned do in fact have videos that go along with them. So for those of you that would like to go give it a watch or perhaps even a rewatch, I will build a playlist out of all those videos. I will put the link for that down in the description, and I'll also put it up on the end screen here on screen at the end of this video. So if you'd like to go check that out, especially if you are like just on a roll and you want some videos to play in the background, you don't want to have to worry about searching for more videos, just click the icon that comes up here at the end of this video and it'll take you to a playlist that'll just start playing through all of those related videos in order. It'll be fantastic and you won't have to worry about searching for another video to watch next. And then, okay, if we start looking at here, we're getting into the paper piecing. This is gonna be a huge sneak peek for the main channel video. I'm assuming it's gonna go out on the main channel. I'm not sure yet, but little tiny sneak peek of some of the paper piecing I was doing over the summer. Got this fun little shape, got some hearts in there. Very different color scheme than what I usually use, but it's kind of fun to go with that. And I have several different chunks of that because I started a few different sections. I'll join them all up at some point in time, and these are to go in the other side of that room divider. So one side is going to be the cozy, warm Hobbit colors from the very first Hexi quilt English paper piecing video, and then the back side is going to be the like more spring colored pink and greens and very bright tones. So I think it's going to be kind of fun. It's going to give me, oh, there's a bigger section. It's going to give me a couple options in terms of room dividers. Look at how cheerful that is. Very fun. Yeah, I've been having so much fun with the paper piecing. Great way to scrap, stash, bust. Have been using all of your fabrics that you donated to me, so that was very fun. And then a few other very fun thematic ones as I've been going through and pulling out fabrics that matched either the Hobbit tones or the light spring tones. I noticed a couple other themes that made themselves apparent, and one was this kind of very fun, like funky teal, orange, and brown 70s theme. So I started just casually making one of these, not like actively working on growing it, but just like as I find fabric that's perfect for it. And then this one's my favorite, I think. This one is truly a stash bust in that it is entirely from my own stash. And it's, you can't really see because I can't get back far enough, but it's in the shape of a hexagon. And it's all my fabrics that I use. So we've got like the orange tartan pattern from my Coquelicot adjustable waist skirt. We've got the lining from my patchwork bag. We've got the lining from my 1890s bloomers. This is from my jumpsuit that you can wear 4 different ways. This is my 19 teens skirt pattern. Like just everything in here. There's a corset hoodie, the purple from the corset hoodies in there. So it was so fun because it went very well together, and it was also very, very perfect because by the time I started running out, and I mean absolutely running out, 0 scraps left of some of these, I had just enough to make a perfect hexagon, like a big hexagon. So now I might just cap off the edges so that they're straight, and sew a little backing on and just hang it on the wall, I think, because it's like so cozy and cheerful, and I love that it reminds me of all my projects. So that's that one. Oh, definitely open to suggestions if you have ideas for what else I should do with this besides just lining it and throwing it on the wall. I don't want it to really get dirty, so I don't want to necessarily use it as something like a table runner unless it's purely aesthetic. But yeah, y'all had some very, very good suggestions for what to do with a couple questions I posed about in the previous Clean With Me, what to do in my house for like the not so dirty but not so clean clothes. Lots of good ideas. So we're gonna crowdsource ideas for this as well. And I don't think it'll ever be like a main channel video because I didn't film any of it. It was really nice. Honestly, it was so nice to have a video that was just, or a project that was just for myself that I didn't have to film. Not that I don't love filming for y'all, but it is really nice to just have a project for me sometimes. Where I don't have to be like full energy and like wanting to talk to a camera. So there's that. And I see one more. Oh, this is probably the big one over here, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so this is the big one from the video. This has so many of your fabrics in it. And I think we should take this over to the frame and I will hang it up for you just so you can get an idea of what it's gonna look like eventually, because it's gonna be very cozy and very fun, I think. I'm super excited. So let's go over here. And I'll get you set up and show you what it's gonna look like. Ta-ta! Okay, so it's obviously not pulled taut or anything. It's literally just taped up in there, barely holding on for dear life. So, you know, just imagine that it's like properly attached and that it's like fully taut. But this is kind of giving an idea of what it's gonna look like on one side, and I just love it. I love it. I think it's so fun and so cheerful, and the colors are so me. And this side I'll probably leave the wood either this color that is right now, naturally, or I might actually stain it a little bit darker. There's like a stain that I use in basically all of my furniture around here, and I think it's English walnut, if I remember correctly. It's a Minwax stain. It's much darker. That could work really nicely. And then on the flip side, so the opposite side of this, where it's those cheerful spring colors, I think I'll paint that side of the frame bright white, or some light colored neutral, maybe a beige or something like this. This is one instance in which I think beige would be okay because it is just framing so many bright colors. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's what it's looking like, and I still have apparently a tiny bit of length to go on this. It's not quite long enough, and then I need to do 2 more, but it's coming along. It is coming along. So enough fun talk though. Let's get back to cleaning. And then if we're making a craft box, there's just a couple other things on here that should go into here. And they are, well, first of all, I have a couple things sitting on here that were in my like mend / make final touches on. And one is this pair of pants that I made just before going to Norway. Again, I didn't film anything, but they're just like kind of comfy pajama pants. But I think they're super fun because I found this fabric that's this like kind of unique stripe thing, but I found it in 2 different colorways. So I made one leg is this sort of coral colorway and the other leg is this teal color. And so when I wear them, I feel a little bit like a court jester, but like in the best possible way. And the thing is, it's subtle enough that you don't really notice it. Like I was wearing it for a few hours before my roommate, who also sews, actually noticed it and said anything. So these are super fun, and I have been wearing them out in public, walking around Montreal, but they are not hemmed. They're pinned where I need to hem them, but they are not hemmed. So that is something that I've been just meaning to sit down and do one day while watching some, I don't know, TV or YouTube or something. So that's going in there. And then lastly, I've got some fabric that I've been meaning to make jumpsuits out of. In fact, I started. That is what this is. This is the beginning of a jumpsuit right here. Very fun. You can actually see this is like basically, well, I can put it on. It's not gonna look great, but I can put it on for y'all. Here's where we're at now. Keep in mind it's very crop toppy because it's going to be attached to a pair of pants. But yeah, that's where we're at. How fun is that? So I got this because I just wanted to make some really fun jumpsuits for painting and doing stuff around the house. And I was like, all of my work clothes are black, which is fine. I don't mind, but it'd be fun to have some color. So I was like, I'm gonna make some fun, whimsical jumpsuits. And went to the fabric store looking for exactly that, fun, whimsical prints, and then immediately discovered that all the fabric that is amazing and adorable and that I love is made in the scale that it looks great when you're about 2 feet tall. And as soon as you're like full human size and making adult garments that aren't meant for toddlers, the repeat is just too small. Like the scale is completely off. So I found a lot of fabrics that I absolutely adored, but the scale was too small. So I ended up settling on this because the colors are fun. They work really well with some of the colors that I have in the house. And I also really like purple. So I got this because the scale is on point. And then I also got this very fun Peter Pan themed fabric, which I adore it because it's not Disney Peter Pan. It's like an abstract Peter Pan. So you've got, you've got Captain Hook, the crocodile with the watch, you've got Pan down there, some of the Lost Boys. I just thought it was super fun. There's a ship on here somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know. Really, really fun. So that's going to be another jumpsuit. I just haven't had time. As you can see, I've only gotten this far on this jumpsuit, but at some point you're going to see this jumpsuit at the house and you're going to know the backstory behind it. Yibbida-boo. So I think that's pretty much all the craft stuff I've got. This actually needs to stay over there. This, oh yeah. This basically hasn't been touched since Norway, but it's my stock of hearts that need to get sewn together. Let's see, a row of renegade hearts over here that needs to be picked up, thrown in the bag. Oh, and this guy too. Okay, so all the crafting stuff has been wrangled into here, and this is just, again, gonna go live somewhere off my table for the moment. Excellent. Okay, what do we have left going on here? For your vantage point, this is what we're looking at. This is what's going on, left to be cleaned. Since I'm not sure exactly what it is that I'm dealing with, I think I'm just going to take a couple minutes to quickly sort through and just figure out what is going on here and what the best course of action is going to be. So this is going to be a great time to remind all of you, if you're sitting down and knitting or something, to get up, do a little stretch break, get a drink, shake your fingers out, stretch your back, all that good stuff. Pee break if you need it, while I sit here and quickly sort through all this stuff, and I'll meet you back here once I have a slightly better idea of what the heck is going on this table. We've got the miscellaneous box of electronics and cables, all of that. That can be sorted through fairly quickly. Then I was wrong. We still have more crafting stuff. So there's a bunch of crafting stuff there to be sorted. This is everything from my current sewing project. So that is this one. So they'll be reunited shortly. Then we've got some books, office supplies, dog food, paperwork, which is boring, and that's going to be dealt with later. This is a separate box of filming stuff from Nova Scotia. And then lastly, we've got this, and this is kind of interesting. Now, this in itself is not actually that exciting. It is just basically a classic shipping box for Canada Post. But what is exciting is what is supposed to go in it. And that is this big old hunk of soil that came from my basement in Nova Scotia. Now, if you are a patron, you know the full story behind this, but if I'm going to give you the nutshell version, basically was reached out to by a lovely woman who watches my videos and is a ceramicist, potter. I should actually look up how she prefers to be called, but she works with clay and she sells it. That's what she does for a living. She went to art school. She's a fan of the house project, and she wanted to make me a custom bespoke piece of art for the house. And part of the whole process of doing that involves me mailing some soil from my basement to her, and I don't want to give too much more away. We'll save a little bit of mystique for the patrons and for when the full story comes out on YouTube, but basically she reached out to me wanting to completely donate all of her time and effort and everything to just give me a gift for the house, and I was like, well, would you like to do a little segment on it? Like, I can send some publicity your way. I think that people would be interested in learning more about the story. And now, having talked with her, we did like a full, it was over an hour, a Zoom call that I filmed, and I'm going to put little snippets of it up on the main channel video, but it was so interesting. She taught me so much about the history of Canadian stoneware, which I had no idea. I learned so many things about clay and firing and glazing, and it was super fun that she was so well versed specifically in Canadian stoneware. She is from Canada. She's also Canadian. So that was just really fun. I learned so much. So there's going to be some content about that on the main channel. I'll probably put our full discussion up on the second channel when it's, you know, relevant, when it's the right time, because that conversation was so interesting. But suffice it to say that for now, the reason this is interesting is because I am sending a hunk of land from that I dug up in my basement, sending it her way to become part of something that is going to be very cool and very custom. But this is not going to happen today because it is Sunday and the post office is closed. So I will simply package it up and get it ready to go. That's going over on the to-do later pile. Also, for anyone wondering what it is that I am reading at the moment, I am going back through the Outlander series. I'm on Dragonfly in Amber. I say what you will. I know some people absolutely hate the series. I have my thoughts about the show itself. I love the books, and I've been going back through and rereading them. Also got Stephen Hawking's Brief Answers to Big Questions. That's talk about like a whiplash from topic switch, but that's what we've got going on right now. These, easy. They're just going to go on the bookshelf. Electronics, quite honestly, it might just get jammed in my electronics drawer because I don't have patience for sorting through them. And then the craft stuff is just going to go in its various, for the most part, appropriately designated containers scattered out throughout my room. And then I think we're going to be able to go make my bed. Very exciting. Progress is happening. Oh, not that much progress. I still have to deal with all the clothes. Technically, this Serger thread very much does not go in this bundle of craft things, but the problem is that where it does go is completely buried by several feet of hardwood. So for now, it's just going to get temporarily placed with all the other crafting stuff, and once the hardwood is out of here and I can fully reclaim my studio, which is going to be very exciting, then I can put it where it belongs. But until then... Also, while I was in that drawer, I came across some fun things for a video that never fully materialized, but I would still like to do at some point, maybe. I don't know when I'm gonna have time, but I came across a couple notebooks that I got like secondhand, thrifted, and I was fully intending to make some updates to, or make a new version, a prettier version of my like sewing journal. So I went ahead, I have like all the media that I wanted to add in there. I went ahead and like printed out some nice images of all the projects that I've done because I want to include them in there as well. I have samples of all the fabric, like I have everything ready to go. I just ran out of time to do it, but at some point would like to do some nice sewing journal updates on here because when I happened to mention it casually in passing in one video, and people were very interested in it and they wanted to see it, and I was like, oh, okay, but now I have to make a really much more aesthetic version of it and I have to market it so it does well, and like I didn't have enough time and it was very stressful, so I never got around to doing it even though I have all of the material for it. So at some point and get to break out these lovely colorful markers and make some artwork in this notebook, which I so enjoy doing. I just don't enjoy the pressure of knowing that it has to be a video that performs incredibly well. That sucks a lot of the fun out of it, to be totally fair. So, coming up, actually, I'm trying to remember why I chose, I think one of these is actually a really cool notebook, if I remember correctly. Is it this one? Okay, no. So, this one's just a plain notebook, and I liked it because the cover was very sturdy, even though it is incredibly damaged, but that's fine. We'll just cover that up with something really aesthetic. That was my initial pick for journals, and then I came across this one, which again, it was only $3 at Renaissance Friperie, thrift store. But the thing is, it's like originally meant for drawing, croquis. So it's got like instructions on how to do it, and I don't know, I didn't bother to read it all, but you can see, can you see? I'll include some photos here, but what you can't actually see is that there are like outlines of people. There's, you know, a front and a back view. And I imagine you're supposed to be, this is like maybe a fashion thing, you're supposed to be like putting your outfits in here. Oh, they've got some very sassy poses on this page. It's a shame you guys can't see it, but anyway, that's a project that will be eventually coming along, perhaps if I ever have time. It might be years down the road, and I might not have any more sewing projects to add into it at that point because my time for sewing is very limited. But eventually, sewing journal with swatches. All right, I honestly think that pretty much takes care of everything in here, which is excellent. We need to feed the corgi because the corgi is very unhappy with the current situation as regards canine sustenance, and then we'll tackle this pile on my bed. We need to get you some puppy food. Oh yes. Okay, well, the dog is well fed, and it's time for us to turn our attention to this giant pile of clothes, which doesn't look that big on screen, but it is actually fairly sizable. So, gonna start folding up the clean clothes, gonna put the dirty clothes in the hamper right here, and I think that's gonna be the last thing on the list for today because I am rapidly running out of motivation. It is a gorgeous day outside, which is actually why I have the door open, but it also means that this might get quite loud. So if that's the case, hold on, sniff test. Yeah, we're good. That can get hung back up. So I guess while I sit here and fold my clothes, could kind of chat about how it's been to have this second channel so far. How has it been? Am I enjoying it? And generally speaking, I couldn't be happier. It's so nice to have somewhere that I can just put stuff and not worry about everything. I can just, if I have an idea, I can make it, and then I can put it on the internet, and that's it. And also that I can do some videos that are easier to edit, like this one, where the main goal is not that you're watching what's on screen, but rather that you're listening a little bit more like a classic podcast. It's been very interesting, honestly, because I have realized that my personal viewing habits when it comes to YouTube are very different from the average person's. I have like very clearly two categories of video. I have videos that I will put on in the background and listen to. And I don't actually have a lot of creators that I do this to, but there are a couple, and actually a couple of them are actual literal podcast channels that also have an option to listen on YouTube, but like they're doing it not for the visuals, but for the, you know, audio of it all. And then there's other creators that I am like, I will sit down and I will watch their video. And if I can't watch it right away, if I don't have time because I'm too busy, I will save it for a moment when I am not doing anything. And I can literally just watch what they're doing, because that's the thing with YouTube, right? It is a visual platform. It is supposed to be taking the place of or competing with Netflix and Hulu and classic TV. And that jives pretty much with my viewing habits, but I have quickly come to realize that I am very much in the minority, that a lot of people just have YouTube running in the background, and I've been trying to battle that for so long, partly because, I mean, in large part because I strive to make the type of videos that I would like to... Wow, was that really necessary? I strive to make the type of videos that I myself would want to watch, and I do not enjoy watching the type of video that I am making right now. Like, I would not ever really watch this. However, I have come to realize that there are a large amount of people, especially if you're my fellow crafter out there, who are happy, hold on, that needs a wash, who are happy to just have someone keep you company at home and hang out with somebody while you're crafting, while you're cleaning, maybe while you're healing. I know some of you are in the middle of a healing process at the moment, and if that's you, I hope things are going smoothly as well as can be expected. Hope you're not going too stir crazy, because I know that always happens to me when I get injured. So yeah, it's been a whole interesting new world, like trying to make content that I myself would not watch, which has been interesting, but has also to like certainly to some extent been very freeing, because I do feel like there are some things that I have that are very good ideas and make very good videos, and just like I know still that they're going to bomb on YouTube because I cannot figure out the way to package them correctly so that they will get the views and the clicks. And then yeah, you know, if you watch the first channel here, you know that the ramifications that has. So it has been nice to be like, oh, I have this idea and I'm not sure if it's gonna be a guaranteed success, so I can always just put it on the second channel. Now, to be fair, I don't think I've actually put any of those videos out yet. But it's been good to know that I have this as an option. This is where they can go if I'm not committed to the packaging of a video, if I don't know how successful it's going to be. So that's been very interesting and very fun. And I will admit that I have been lovingly referring to this as my garbage channel, which sounds really horrible when I say it. And like, if you think about it, you know, telling like Charlie and Christine, yeah, I'm gonna put our full unedited or less edited video up on my garbage channel. It sounds horrible, but I explained it to them and they fully understood that I have to call it my garbage channel so that I don't get too precious about it, so that I don't curate it and overthink it, and really just like, this is a way for me to not overachieve on this channel. Is just like, it is an affectionate misnomer. It is obviously not a garbage channel, and I am still actually highly editing the stuff that goes on here. I'm just not editing it to the same degree that I do on the main channel. There aren't 30 hours of editing going into these videos, which is good because these are often twice as long as the main channel videos. So actually it would probably be more like 60 minutes of editing, and that would just, oof, that would kill me. I did just want to hop in and say that some of you have definitely taken to calling yourself members of my Eclectic Outliers Club, and I absolutely adore that name. I think it is amazing. It is based on something I said in my very first video on this channel, and a lot of you latched onto it, and I can see why, because it is so much better of a name than my garbage channel. Unfortunately, my brain had already created the name garbage channel before I released that video, and it is now latched onto that term as like, that is what this thing is. It is my garbage channel, and I cannot convince my brain to switch gears. However, I think like logically it is such a better name. I adore it, even if my brain won't let go of the other option. So in the future, if I will be marketing it to anybody, I will invite them to come join me on my Eclectic Outliers channel. Just such a better name. So that about does it for this. I've got, actually almost everything here was clean. There was hardly any dirty clothing. So just going to put this away quickly, and then we're going to disturb the corgi just long enough to make the bed, and then I think we're going to possibly wrap it up here unless I am feeling motivated enough that I think I can knock out the vacuuming of this rug as well. I don't know. What do you think? Are we gonna be able to do that? Oh, this is so crooked. How am I just this? Well, this whole apartment is crooked. That's how. So we finally gotten to the point of the year where it's cold enough that I want another layer on the bed. But as you can see, this one is really in a shambles. It is in a very sad state. It is more rags than quilt at this point. And I know that the proper thing to do would be to like sit down and repair it, or at least put it inside a duvet cover. And I don't have a duvet cover that's the right size, and then two, I just have so many other things I'd rather be doing than repairing it, so I'm just going to be kind of sneaky. Unlike that car, which is not being sneaky at all, and I'm gonna sandwich this in between my sheet and my top layer here. These, by the way, are the Brooklinen sheets that I mentioned in my last clean with me, where they say like short edge, long edge on them, which I think is so fun. Although a lot of you had really good tips on how you can like DIY this yourself, great ideas. Like the easiest one is to sew a piece of super contrasting thread on the short edge. Others of you pointed out that it does seem to be industry standard to put the tag with all the like information from the company and the fiber content. The tag seems to be in a certain spot and it's pretty standardized. I'll put that spot up here based on when I find the comments, because I don't remember it off the top of my head, but those are some great ways to do it. Obviously you could also make your own tags and sew them on. I just don't have time. I have so many other things I would rather be doing. So I thought it was really nice that these came with them already labeled. So anyways, back to sandwiching my poor quilt. They are really fun colors though. I do still really enjoy this fun stripe. Also, I'm sure some of you have noticed by now, but yes, Canal does have her own private little bed extension off in the corner there, which she absolutely loves. That's like her little safe zone. It's where she retreats in the middle of the night so that she doesn't get kicked. And it's kind of this sort of situation that we are hoping to replicate in the Nova Scotia house eventually at some point. I mentioned it in a video. I got lots of ideas, but a lot of those ideas in the comments were involving putting her on a different level than the main mattress, and I should stipulate that she will not be accepting of that. She insists that she is on the bed with me, and that means that even if she has a little extension, it has to be at the same exact height, or else she doesn't accept it. So finding a solution for the Nova Scotia house is going to be fun and get the creative juices flowing, but also it's not super urgent, so it probably won't happen anytime soon. Alright, so here's the situation. We have potentially one more item on the list. I had already written this off as a bonus item, and now that I'm here, I kind of don't want to do it because I'm running out of energy and I just want to be done. But I know that if I do it, I'm going to be so happy. Like, future me is going to really appreciate this because the task is vacuuming that rug. Now, I am by no means a clean freak. I actually think I have a much higher tolerance for dirt and grime than the average person, but it has admittedly been a really long time since I vacuumed that rug. Also, it is shedding season, and it is currently no longer bright purple. It is like this very dull faded color just because there's so much of her hair covering over it. So I know if I tackle it right now, it is just gonna like bring a smile to my face every time I walk in here for the next week because the color is just gonna be so much more vivid and bright and cheerful. So as a favor to my future self, I'm going to invest in my future joy, and I'm gonna whip out the vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming. This is the last push that we're gonna do today. If I can do it, you can do it too. Ready, set, let's go. Oi. Lovely. Note to self, add clean vacuum to the list. So in the end, I managed to clean off all the horizontal surfaces in my room, and my floor is vacuumed and looks so much better. So now it is your turn. If you were one of the people who went and left an accountability comment at the beginning of the video, go down to the comments again and let us know how you're doing, how far you got, where your progress is. Don't leave us hanging. Unless, of course, doing so would actually break your hyper-focus mode and totally just ruin the streak that you're on, in which case, please just keep doing what you were doing. And if you'd like even more videos to keep you company in the background as you continue whatever task it is you have set your mind to, there should be a video right here. That is the aforementioned playlist. You can click on that and I will just keep entertaining you with more sewing videos. So give that one a shot next. Bye!